Welcome to Endless Learning Training Series, the membrane-based desalination technology.
In this video we will study about pressure transmitter in reverse osmosis plant, instrumentation and control section. Pressure transmitter. What is a pressure transmitter? Parts of a pressure transmitter. 2. Wire transmission and 4-wire transmission. What is smart transmitter? Advantages of 4 to 20 mA signal transmission. 2-wire transmitter with sourcing input. 2-wire transmitter with syncing input. Essential transmitter terminology terms to know. Pressure transmitters work by measuring pressure process variable and converting it into an analog or digital electrical signal. Since the signal coming directly from the sensor is small, transmitter is to take the sensor output, convert it to a strong standardized signal, and transmit it to any distance. Pressure transmitter consists of 3 main components: pressure sensor, measuring circuit, transmit signal. Process variable pressure signal range 0 to 100 bar is applied as input signal to sensor of pressure transmitter. The output of the sensor is compensated for variations in process and ambient conditions before being converted to a 4 to 20 mA signal or 1 to 5 volt signal. Transmitters use several techniques to transmit their signal. Measuring circuit of a transmitter amplifies and conditions the weak electrical signals generated by the sensor. Main components: pressure transmitters that generally consist of the following parts: front windowed cover, which is display cover, LCD display with keypad, terminal block, push buttons, housing, communication board, front blind cover, display connector, sensor assembly. Advantages of 4 to 20 mA signal transmission. Using a current loop for signal transmission is the current loop's low sensitivity to electrical noise. This is very important for long-distance transmission in industrial environments. 4 to 20 mA current loop is that it is essentially lossless with respect to the transmission media, wire, and the interconnections, connectors. That is, the accuracy of the signal is not affected by the voltage drop in the interconnecting wiring. The use of 4 mA as the starting point for our transmitted signal is useful in troubleshooting, as signal integrity is verified with 0% of input and output signal. A faulty current loop due to a lead break or open device can be immediately discerned as zero current flow, which is a fail-safe level outside of the signal range. 2. Wire transmission. 2-wire transmitters are designed to provide a current transmission signal of 4 to 20 mA DC. A 2-wire transmitter uses part of the 4 mA bias current to operate its electrical circuitry. Both power and signal are carried over the same 2 wires. Current transmission is used because a current signal can be carried over long distances without being affected by circuit resistance that can change depending on length and temperature, as well as the quality and number of connections. 4-wire transmission. In 4-wire transmitters, Two wires are used for power AC or DC voltage to the instrument, and the other two wires are used for signal transmission. Smart transmitter. Smart transmitters have a digital communication protocol, which operates on top of the conventional 4 to 20 mA or 1 to 5 V DC loop signal. Intelligent or smart transmitters transmit both digital and analog signals over the same two wires. Digital signal transmission is faster and more accurate than analog. Information can be carried between the instrument and the DCS or PLC using the same two wires with two-way digital transmission, remotely configuration diagnostic done. Smart transmitter, 4 to 20 mA or 1 to 5 VDC analog signal that corresponds to the primary variable. Analog signal has a digital signal superimposed via frequency shift keying using HART protocol. Device data, configuration, diagnostic are the feature of smart transmitter. Two-wire transmitter with sourcing input. Connection to two-wire transmitter with sourcing input card to PLC or DCS with 24 voltage DC excitation is provided by input car of DCS or PLC. The circuit connection as shown. Two-wire transmitter with syncing input. Two-wire transmitter with syncing input card to PLC or DCS with 24 voltage DC excitation is provided by separate power. The circuit connection as shown. Essential terminology terms to know. Lower range limit, LRL minimum value that a sensor can measure. Upper range limit, URL maximum value that a sensor can measure. Range, URL plus LRL total pressure that the sensor can measure. Lower range value, LRV the lowest value that the transmitter has been adjusted to measure. This value corresponds to the 4 mA analog signal. Upper range value, URV the highest value that the transmitter has been adjusted to measure. This value corresponds to the 20 mA analog signal. Span, URV, LRV the difference between the URV and LRV. Sensors have a minimum span requirement that must be considered while assigning the 4 to 20 mA analog output. Turn-down ratio is the ratio between the maximum span and the calibrated span. Thank you for watching this video.